for us is educates us for being in the unknown, which is for most human beings viscerally uncomfortable. And feel for using your basic moves in our practice today, for revisiting what does it mean to be in an embodiment community and in a personal embodiment practice in a world that has thus far been unknown to us, a totally different world. And taking the support, opening through the crown to allow yourself to take in the sunlight. Washing that through your cell tissue with your breath. So a tangible way to do that is simply softening the physical body and taking a nourishing, wide breath, opening the rib cage. Exhaling out long, perhaps through the mouth if you feel like you have some cobwebs to move out. Inhaling again. Exhaling long. And then we'll do some different hand positions to bring some awareness to basic moves. So stretching through the hands, so you actually feel the tissues on the hands and perhaps the wrists. And then placing hands onto each side of the rib cage. And begin, just like I've been doing these moves as if I never learned them before, beginner's mind. Stretching the ribs into each hand, widening the hands to really hold the rib cage, sort of massaging the intercostal muscles. And as you get the intercostal muscles to respond, you might notice a shift in the neck, the traps, the upper back, spreading through the toes. Continue to press down into your seat to then find a rising up through the torso. And then shifting hands, one hand to the sternum. First, just take a little walk around to see how the sternum feels, stimulating some points there. And then you can either do one hand over the other or one hand side to side, working with giving yourself an anchor so that you're breathing in a way that you're getting the breath into the uppermost lobes of the lungs. Exhaling long. Sensing your heart being hugged in by your lungs as you breathe in, massaging the heart. Exhaling out anything in your heart that is aching, that needs a pathway out. Sometimes like imagining a shower drain or some portal that helps you to do that. And then bringing the attention to upper back, back of heart. If it's doable, you could take the back of the hand to your mid back or upper back. Otherwise, using your intention and washing the breath through this area that's often connected to self-love. And feel for, are you including yourself in this intention that we have as this community in reducing harm, increasing personal buoyancy, including yourself in that intention. Taking in this true that yoga teaches us: if you can breathe, if you are alive, that you deserve to thrive. And then resting the hands down if you had them lifted, and beginning with our neck circles. So taking any integrating movements that arise, otherwise coming into circling as if you had a pencil on your nose and you were drawing on something in the space in front of you, sensing all of the space around your skull bones, imagining where your skull bones exist in your environment. And you can stay with circles or start to do some figure eights or some organic shapes that give you information about how are your suboccipital muscles, these 6 muscles that have very much to do with our center of balance, our sense of security, and understanding where we are in space in the world. Deep, deep breathing. Exhale through the mouth if you feel that energy needing to move out. Stay with exhaling through the nose if you want to keep pulling in more energy. And then from here, coming to a pause, and then coming into some shoulder shrugs. So inhale, shoulders up, shoulders straight back, squeeze the top tips of shoulder blades, and then drag down. This time, keep your shoulders down. Inhale again. And then target middle shoulder blades, squeezing back. And then if you have any leverage, go down. Same thing, start with your shoulders down, inhale. And stage 3, you can bend elbows to help you find bottom tips of shoulder blades. Drag down if you have any leverage, and then keep going in an organic way, listening, feeling into your tissues. You could do shoulders up and pin shoulder blades, or stay down. See what actually helps you to get into feeling the rhomboids, these muscles in between shoulder blades. Feeling heart meridian, which is the area of back of heart. Perhaps moving one shoulder blade at a time. And then from there, coming to a pause. Let's do some seated bird wings. So bringing your palms facing up. Stretching across the palms with an inhale. Fill into your side ribs, and then forearms move away from each other. Elbows hug in and shoulders move down. For today, keep going at a fluid way here at your own pace. So usually we'll do 3 of these, just coming, and you can even let it go slower to see how you can study internal rotation, hands come forward, external rotation. Seeing what is living in your shoulders that you might be able to let go of. A lot of times emotional content can get lodged into shoulders, rounding forward. Also habits can bring us into that posture. Feeling into armpits. All of the lymphatic webbing that's in that whole area. Armpits, upper chest. And then relaxing hands down, take a pause. And then from there, go ahead and come into whatever degree of a straddle that you are warm enough to do. So you might sit up on a block or a bolster. And again, it might be a little V or a wider straddle, and just get some information here. What is your ability to feel your sit bones? I'm definitely going to bend my knees. Spread through your toes, point and flex. And then from here, let's come on to rocking back and forth. So I'm going to come into feeling where is the middle part of the sit bones by exaggerating, rounding, and then arching. What is the middle place? Once I have that, I'm going to come into lifting up through the spine, tented fingertips. And let's take some clearing breaths here. Inhale till you're full. And then exhale with soft lines. Let your spine round. And again, find your own pace here. Come back, tented fingertips. Lift your ribs. Keep strongly, actively reaching through your legs so you're lighting up your legs. Do about 3 or 4 of these at your own pace. Clearing low belly through to the jaw. When you're ready, stay for a few more breaths, forward bending. Take any movements that keep unwinding tense spots in your body. Shoulders down when you're ready. And then from here, come on up. We'll come into deer pose. So start by bringing the feet together into pressing feet together. Get some information here about the hips. And then pour the weight onto the left hip. And then just feel in that transition what information arises, what nourishment possibly is there. It's fine to adjust this to stay in Baddha Konasana if this does not feel like a good move for your body. Plant the left hand down, grab onto the ground, and then move the shoulder and the shoulder blade down. Pull like you're pulling across the chest, reach up. Take a big breath in here, and then on exhale, move the arm back behind the line of the torso. You could look up. If that's too much for your neck, just find another gentler gaze point. If your neck is super tight, you can always just look down. Reaching in a way that energetically connects heart and lungs through the arm, through all of your fingers. And then from there, bring the arm down. Sweep the arm up over the ear. And then take a few of those, continuing to see how you're working into the hips here. Warming up the shoulder girdle. And then from there, coming back to center, come back through Baddha Konasana, pour the weight onto the right side, tuck the heel back at a sit bone, grab onto the ground, and see if you can sense the shoulder blade moving away from the ear. Reach up and do that pull across the chest, so you're massaging chest muscles, reach up, inhale here, and then take the arm back behind the line of the torso. If you're in a place that you can see the light of the sun, letting your eyes take that in. And then from there, bringing the arm back in line with the torso and then down, sweep the arm over the ear. There's your internal rotation. As the arm comes out, external rotation, and then keep feeling into that glenohumeral joint, feeling into the shoulder girdle, and seeing if the gentle, repetitive movement can also be an unwind for your nervous system. Spreading from the toes so you can keep the lower body in awareness, even though the focal point of the movement is upper body. And then from there, come back to your Baddha Konasana, feet together. Press into all 4 corners of each foot and just feel into if you want to stay in stillness or some movement here. And then from here, go ahead and grab onto your rolled up object if you have one. Otherwise, you can do this with intention, not an object. Come down to breathing into your back bottom ribs on the floor. Using your hands as an anchor to keep guiding the breath into intercostal muscles. Feet can be underneath knees or scooted forward. And then from there, grab onto your prop and we'll do some dipping frog. So if you need to take it more easy on your hips or your low back, you can start with feet down and then pick your object up. Otherwise, you can start with bringing the knees over the hips, grab onto your object, Inhale across back, bottom ribs, and then squeeze your prop and slowly, smoothly tap the heels down and come back up. Low belly engages. Inhale, back ribs and side ribs. Exhale, squeeze, tap, and come back up. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze prop like you're sending it forward to somebody. Come back down. You start feeling like you're using your rib cage or your back, slow it down, smooth it out. Doing 2 more at your own pace. Squeeze, tap down, come back up. And then place your prop to the side, take a feeling breath. And then from here, come into either straight legs. Find to bend the knees. If you have tightness in the posterior chain, just keep the knee over the hip. That's the alignment point. Get the outer edges of the feet parallel. And then the move here is inhale. And then on exhale, come into a straddle, belly towards spine. Inhale, come back to your starting point. Keep the back ribs on the floor. Exhale. You can grow your straddle. Lift the pubic bone, belly towards spine. Inhale, feet at hips width distance. Exhale, straddle. And then you can keep growing your straddle. Reach the thigh bones away from the hip. Do about 3 more at your own pace. Keep breathing. And then from there, take a moment, either feet together, knees wide, or knees together, feet wide for a few breaths. And then we'll come into splits. So again, legs straight, find to have the knees bent, knees over hips. And then same thing, inhale into back ribs and side ribs. And then on exhale, left leg comes towards you, right leg goes away, any amount, belly towards spine. Inhale, feet at hips width distance, like Tadasana legs. Exhale, right leg towards you, left leg away from you. Inhale, brings you back to Tadasana legs. And then keep going at your own pace. Growing the scissoring quality. And then from there, same choice point, feet down, knees together, feet wide, or feet together, knees wide. Continuing to see where you can light up your prana body by taking in the light. Buoying yourself for facing the unknown. And then from here, we'll come into psoas toner on the block. So if you don't have a block, you could use a book. And you could also do it on the floor with hips down. So it's just like bridge with a block, getting the block underneath the sacrum in a way that feels pain-free. And so the move here is, I have to get some support under my foot. Inhaling, knee to chest on the left side. Exhaling, reach the leg straight up and then lengthen the front of the hip as you bring the heel down. And then from there, you could see where you can move the breath into the front of the left hip. And then tap 3 times as you bring the heel back. Tap, 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 so you're in the setup for bridge. Inhale, knee to chest on the right side. Exhale, reach straight up. Lengthen the thigh bone away from the hip as you bring the foot down. Take a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, tap 3 times, tap, tap, tap. So you're waking up that heel point to get back into bridge. And then we'll do our Uddiyana here. So lifting yourself up into bridge pose, moving the block. Relaxing completely through the torso, taking a very full breath in. Exhale everything out. Keep the breath out, belly back, lowering down. Relax the belly, take an inhale. And then from there, letting this be a nutritious movement, rolling onto one side, keeping your neck neck relaxed, come up to your tabletop. Feeling all the ways that your cells are getting squished, that your tissues are getting stimulated, even in the transitions in a way that feels nurturing. Press into the tops of the shins, spreading through the hands like you're pressing into wet soil. And then from here, breathing into kidney area, nourishing that kidney adrenal axis here. And then lifting from kidneys, sit bones move towards calves. Head can completely hang or just look to the mat. So pelvic tilts on hands and knees. Inhale into side ribs and back ribs. Exhale, lift from back bottom ribs. Sit bones move towards calves. Top rib of sacrum lifts towards the ceiling. And again, flow at your own pace, letting the repetition help you to soothe your nerves, help excess stimulation drain away, if possible. And then from there, coming back through your neutral spine, let's get into our limbs a bit. So starting with just the leg, left leg shoots back, press into the top of the foot. So you're in plantar flexion there. And then shift into curling toes under, kick through the heel, dorsal flexion. And then take some time with each of those. So you're using that to warm up the tissues in the ankle and foot. Press into the top of the pointed foot, press the ground away, and then kick through the heel. And then switch sides. Come back into plantar flexion, press the ground away. If the foot is sickling in, straighten it back. And you can bring the crown of the head forward. Bring the back of the head towards the ceiling. And then curl toes under, kick through the heel. Come back and forth and feel the chain of the tissues all the way from the ankle through the knee into the hip, lighting up. And then come on back. We're going to come into flash prep with the option of keeping knees down if you like. So measuring, bring elbows down right underneath shoulders, wrap around the triceps so you're getting a hold of the outer arms. Bring the right forearm down, and then again, come back to that pressing into wet soil like you're making a handprint. Start with the left hand under the shoulder, and then scoot that hand back, either 4 to 6 inches or to a 90-degree angle, depending on what your tissues can do in your forearm and your wrist. Either let the head hang completely or look straight towards the mat. Take a big breath in and then move the left shoulder and shoulder blade down and squeeze the elbow into the midline. Press the whole forearm into the ground. Press into the shins. This could be plenty. Feel the way an asymmetrical movement gets your attention of your brain, right? So this works chest muscles differently, works the brain differently. If you are feeling like it's a good move for you, you can curl the toes under and lift the knees a little bit or straighten the legs. You could lift the right leg up. Either way, press the ground away with every contact point. Keep finding out where you can relax internally and expand the ribs. And then when you're ready, put knees down if they're lifted, come back for your table. Take an integrating breath, either stillness or movement, and we'll set up the other side. Wrap around the triceps. Plant the left forearm down, find a really big handprint into your imaginary wet soil. Start with the right hand underneath the shoulder and then scoot it back, either 4 to 6 inches or to a 90-degree angle. Take a big breath into upper back and then move the shoulder and shoulder blade away from the ear. Bring the front ribs toward the back ribs, and then again, see how this shows up in your brain. Hug the inner elbow to the midline. Press the ground away with everything making contact with your mat. Maybe you hover the knees. Maybe you straighten the legs. Give yourself breath support with whatever shows up on any level. Perhaps you lift the left leg. Gently place knees down. If they're lifted, come back through your tabletop. And then from here, coming into downward facing dog. So from tabletop, hands come forward, shoulders away from the ears, eye of the elbow and the bicep spins forward. Press, 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 and then bring your attention to your ASIS, your front hip point. Move that hip point back, deep hip hinge. Maybe the legs knees stay bent. Maybe they straighten. When you're ready, come into Uttanasana. Take your hands to your feet and your feet to your hands. Keep the front hip points back over the ankles to the degree that's available to you. And then maybe you give yourself some neck traction, interlace hands behind the neck. You can hold inner elbows. You could have hands on blocks. And taking all the time you need, perhaps pressing the front hip point back as you come up, engage the abs. And then sensing this vertical axis in space. Coming to the top of the mat. And take some time to really spread your awareness through your feet. And to whatever degree you can connect to the light that's happening outside, at least in the greater Boston area. Taking that in, so feet planted, outer edges of the feet parallel, get the front hip points back, and then as if you had a big ball of that light that you were holding, expanding into the back ribs and side ribs, and then lifting that ball, reach the arms up, and then come into your forward fold. Inhale into halfway lift. So again, knees back, knees over ankles. Sort of like your, well, not sort of, like your cobra. Heart reaches forward like your back bend. Exhale, fold. And then from there, press the ground away, come back up. You could come back to this lifting of your imaginary ball or arms out to the side and bring the hands into Anjali Mudra prayer. And so we'll keep finding this salutation quality here, saluting the sun, lifting your ball, and then bending the knees, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, finding the heart reaching forward, shoulder blades down. Exhale, fold. Press the ground away to come up, out to the side or forward, hands touch. And then one more like this and we'll step back. So imagining hips back, picking up your ball, pick up your whole rib cage away from the floor, reaching up, soft knees, forward fold. Inhale into halfway lift. And then exhale this time, step back into your plank. So knees could be up or down. Coming into this hold here, so you're building some stability in the core, lengthening the core, press the ground away. When you are ready, lowering all the way down, and then reaching back through each leg, internally rotating the thigh bones, and then we'll come into some shoulder shrugs here. So you could lift the legs, lift the chest, and then hover the hands next to shoulders. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeezing shoulders, shoulder blades, and elbow tips. Reach through the legs. And we'll do 2 more of those. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Reach through the legs. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Reach through the legs. And then take a moment in your crocodile. You could come into forearms flat, press the ground away, and see how that may show up in your lats or somewhere in your back body. Reach through the legs, and then soften and let yourself uptake earth energy. Hands under shoulders. Press the ground away, come back through your table and into your downward facing dog. In your down dog, step your feet a bit closer, and with a lot of focus, keep a strong press evenly through the hands. Lift the left leg. Keep the hips square to start, and then bend the knee. Begin to open the hip any amount. And take any movement. They could be tiny movements or bigger movements. Feel what is correct for the tissues in your left hip. And then lengthen the thigh bone away from the hip to lower down. Other side. With a lot of focus, lift the right leg. Square the hips. Bend the knee. And then either small movements or bigger movements. Lowering the leg down. Taking a feeling breath here, and then we'll step into lunge. So left leg is coming forward. Getting any extra padding that you need underneath the knee, getting blocks for your hands if you need them. And then from here, sweeping the arms up. This time we'll come into brain cradling, hands behind the head. And you can back out of it towards 90 degrees and then come forward. Again, using these hopefully nutritious movements within the poses to see what do the tissues need, what is available today, and then settle into stillness. Keep reaching strongly through the elbows, lengthening the skull bones away from the top of the spine. And then from here, release the hands, come into a side bend, hold on to the left hip, reach the right arm up and reach over. Use the low right glutes to keep the hip grounded as you're breathing into your side bend and then flowing into some improvised movement here, reaching over the ear and either circling the arm or taking any other movements that make space in the chest, allow you to get some sunlight into the places that need that in your energy body, in your heart. And then from here, back the hips up, and we'll come into a twist. So 2 90-degree angles, square the hips the best of your ability. Bring the hands into this active press. Press your hands together. Coming forward, a couple of options. You can plant the right hand onto a block or the floor and reach the left arm up, or you can take the elbow outside the thigh, make a fist, wrap the opposite hand. Either way, keeping the hips as square as you can and feel into the rotation in the spine. Either continuing to look up or looking forward. If your neck is super tight, you could do the twist, but look down. Unwind your twist. One more pose on this side, nomad's pose. Straighten the left leg. Track the hip down, deepen the hip hinge. Great place to use your blocks. And with the foot, you can, like you're trying to dent the mat with your heel. Press into the heel. See how that changes the sensation? Lengthen through the spine. And exhale, fold forward. And if you feel like you could tease out some more space, inhale, lift up through the spine. And exhale, fold forward. Press into the shin on the right side. You can come into pointing through the top of the foot, come into that plantar flexion, getting both of those actions. And then from there, go ahead and come on up and we'll hop right back to the top of the mat. And you can come up, picking up your imaginary ball of prana, or real ball of prana, hopefully. Come back through hands to heart center, and we'll come right into a similar start on the other side, hips back. Lift your ribs, lift your ball, reach up, finding this quality of salutation. Sweep forward. Inhale into flat back. Exhale, fold. Kick into the ground and come back up. Hands come to touch. We'll do 2 more of these. Hips back, lift your ribs. Salutations and bowing. Fold forward. Inhale, heart reaches forward. You can pull the hands up the shins like you do on the floor on Cobra and fold. Kick into the ground, reach out, reach up. Open chest and shoulders. One more time, picking up your ball. Broadening upper back and side ribs. Opening front body and fold. Come into flat back and then step right back, plank. You decide knees up or knees down, press the ground away with shins and hands as you lower. And we'll come into one more round of shoulder shrugs in both. Lengthen back through each leg, lift the legs, lift the shoulders, hover the hands. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. 2 more. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Reach through the legs and take a moment. Crocodile. You could press into the ground and then let go to find a more active release. And then letting your belly uptake earth and nutrients, your heart. And then from there, hands under shoulders, press back into your down dog. From here, right leg is stepping forward into lunge. Actively kick into the ground. And then again, brain cradling. Switch up the interlace. Lengthen, give yourself a little massage on the neck there. Elbow tips wrap forward, and you can back out of it and come back in. Getting some information about the quads, the hip flexors, lots of things here. And then when you're ready, stay. Find the stillness. Breathe. Continue to see where you can soften the neck and the jaw. Hold on to the right hip. Coming into our side bend, reach up, wrap the shoulder blade, come up and over. Use the left low glutes to stabilize left hip. Finding the side body. So coming out of lateral flexion and then getting into axial rotation, 2 90-degree angles, our twisting lunge. Press the ground away. As you press the hands together, feel the chest muscles and the lats perhaps respond. Lift the heart coming forward, and then options, either opening the arms or taking the elbow outside the thigh. You can do prayer hands. I like to make a fist and blanket it. I get more purchase on them. Either way, finding your best gaze point. Feeling into the rinsing you get through the viscera, through the diaphragm. If that right hip is sticking out, tracking it back and under. And then from there, nomad's pose. Unwind your twist. Straighten into the right leg, perhaps get your blocks. Track that left hip back and under. Like you're denting into that heel. Press into the heel, traction it towards you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Do that as many times as feels good. Continue to tease out tight spots in the thoracic spine and back of heart as you're working the legs here. And then stay, feeling how it's an essential skill to learn to flow and also to learn to stay. When you are ready, come on up, step up to the top of the mat. Find your feet at hips width distance, and then this time, come right up into chair pose. You could do arms reaching up, or just find any other position, even hands on hips. What we want to focus on is alignment of knees back, front hip points back. And we're going to add in an Uddiyana here, taking a very full breath in. Exhale everything out. Keep the breath out. Belly back and up. When you're ready to breathe, relax the belly, inhale and fold. Either let the head go completely or look towards the mat. And we're going to repeat that. Come back into your chair pose, knees back. Maybe hands on hips. That feels really good to me today. Helps me to stay focused. Big breath in, exhale everything out. Belly back and up. When you're ready to breathe, relax the belly, inhale and fold. This time coming back into your flat back. And feel how, if you ever are not able to get on hands and knees, how you can do your back bends here, coming into your cobra. You get that tractioning of the ribs and upper back. And then from here, let's come back into our plank. Same option, knees up or knees down. From there, lower all the way down with control. We're going to come into that variation of Shalabhasana that works the upper back. Lengthen back through the feet. Come to your tented fingertips. You can play with out at shoulder height or come wider and forward, lifting ribs. And then on exhale, look underneath the left arm. And then as you look back, are your baby toes grounded? Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, other side. And then going at your own pace, that makes this so that you can feel what you're doing, that it feels useful. Just the right amount of tapasya, fire, and challenge. And then come back to your crocodile pose, forearms down, legs solidly reaching back, press the ground away, and so you can then let it go. Soften into earth energy, uptaking sunlight, increasing personal buoyancy. And then from here, hands under shoulders, shoulders down, pressing back through your table into your downward facing dog. And then from here, coming into a warrior two vignette. So let's step left foot forward. Aligning front heel to back arch. And then if you have the mobility, you could pick up the right heel and spin it out. You could also have it parallel to the short edge of the mat. And then find your frontal hip points. I'll show this from the side. So just like we did in the other exercise, hips back, and then use your low glutes to come under. Keep all of that. Lift your ribs. Reach your arms out. Feeling how we have these micronutrients of warming up the different areas and then putting them together. Can play with lifting that heel and then plugging the heel back down. And then from here, let's come into reverse warrior. Stay in the lunge, wrap the left shoulder blade, come back through warrior two. Bring the forearm onto the thigh, shoulder down, shoulder blade down. And you can either come up over the ear like so, or sweep the arm forward and over. Come back and forth at your own pace. Warrior two, reverse warrior. Back through warrior two, extended warrior variation. So sometimes this is called a dancing warrior series. So if it becomes a dance and not separate asanas, awesome. When you're ready, getting off of that lunge leg, straightening the front leg, upper body comes into reverse warrior, which gives you reverse Trikonasana. Soften front ribs in and down. Lengthen your left big toe. Kick into the heel points. And then here we go. Let's come into half moon. Pour the weight onto that standing leg. Get the outer edge of the foot parallel to the long edge of the mat. That's going to teach you to use the outer hip. Set up your block on a diagonal from the baby toe. This may be your pose, just pouring weight and activating the outer hip. Starting with the hips square and then letting it open at its own pace. Kick through the back leg. Maybe you reach up, maybe you keep the hand on the hip. Maybe you start to play with some more balance off of the block. Either way, keep breathing. Feeling the chain of stimulation from your active foot through lower leg, upper leg, low belly, chest muscles. When you're ready, come on down. Take it right to the other side. Warrior two. Wide stance. Pivot the right toes forward. Bend the knee. Pick up the heel, spin it out. Keep the ribs right over the hips. And we'll try that therapeutic move of hips back. Scoop under using the low glutes. Keep the ribs in and down, meaning front ribs. Reach out through both arms. Feel for the integration that you can get when you focus on those basic moves. From here, stay in the lunge, find your reverse warrior, lift the ribs, wrap the shoulder blade, come back through warrior two, extended warrior, forearm on the thigh, shoulder down, either reaching the arm like a rainbow or sweeping the arm forward over the ear. And then come through your dancing warrior vignette, reverse warrior, warrior two, extended warrior variation. Kick through the heel to create that long line through the side body. And then the next time you come back into reverse warrior, straighten the leg, reverse trikonasana. Kick through the heels, lengthen the right big toe. Continuing to feel for this personal upliftment so that you have more resource for your practice in the world. And then from there, hop the back foot in. Get the outer edge of that left leg parallel to the long edge of the mat. Feel for the outer hip activating. Maybe that's your pose, just pouring weight onto the left leg. Otherwise, set up your block on a diagonal. Lifting the leg and then just seeing where is that hip willing to stack without pushing, that you're actually making space, lengthening the thigh bone away from the hip, curling the pubic bone, so we're using those low abs. If the arm is lifted, feel for moving the shoulder blade towards the ceiling, using your active hand to create a dynamic line of energy. Feeling into all of what's coming up as you're breathing in the shape. From there, lengthen back through the leg, come back down. And we'll come into flank stretch. So wide stance. Hold on to the hips, press down, and then resist that by lifting the ribs. Keep the feet super grounded. Come forward. In your forward fold, moving the shoulders away from the ears. And then walking the hands to the right. You can either keep the hands on block, you could grab onto the right ankle with the left hand, opposite hand on top. And then teasing out space, reaching the elbow towards the floor. Inhale into left ribs. Move the left ribs to the left. Coming back through center over to the other side. Grabbing a hold of left ankle with right hand, opposite hand on top, or hands on block. Reach the right elbow towards the floor, mobilizing the scapula. Inhale into right ribs, and then move the right ribs towards the right. So you're creating lateral flexion in the spine. And then when you are ready, let go, come back to center, take a few breaths here in your forward fold. And then walk your feet in a bit narrower. If there's another transition that's better for what you're working with, feel free. Otherwise, coming into a squat. And then just taking your squat side to side to create some integrated movement into the hips. You could do this on the back, knees to chest. And when you are ready, come on down onto the back, please. And begin to come into either knees together, feet wide, or feet together, knees wide. Bringing your hands onto your torso. And then bringing the hands to the sternum with fingertips, just using your fingertips to massage around the sternum. So we won't get specific, but knowing that you're stimulating so many meridians as you work underneath collarbones and around the sternum. You could either stay with massaging or tapping. And then when you feel ready, either coming right into your final relaxation or taking any other intuitive movements that make sense for you to close your movements before Shavasana. Beginning to bring your awareness to this horizontal plane of your body in Shavasana, aligned with earth energy, giving and receiving with the earth. And then as you inhale, purposefully pulling in sunlight, touching the internal space and every cell with the sunlight, letting yourself be fed by this vernal equinox, coming back from the earth and Shavasana. When you're ready, rolling yourself onto one side, taking all the time you need, feeling that transition. And then pressing into the ground to come back up to your seat. And we'll close with one round of Brahmari. So you can place the hands wherever it feels good on the vessel of your body. And we'll take a breath in and create a humming, buzzing of any pitch. Feel free to unmute yourself. Blessing yourself with your breath, rejoining the circle of practice, blessing everyone with your breath and your attention. Thank you for your attention to this practice.
Thank you, Karuna. Thank you, Karuna. Beautiful.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Enjoy.
All right, enjoy.
You too, John.
Enjoy the babies.
I will, the giant baby. I'll be in touch
Bye.
with you. Bye.
So nice to be back.
Oh, it's so good to see you. I've been thinking of you. McCall came over and went for a walk with us yesterday, and we were just sending you our love and singing your praises.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, I now have, you're going to laugh at this, I now have oven mitts about this size and oven mitts about this size. So I have to make a date with you. I'll text you to find a time. It's so hilarious.
Amazing. That's a thorough search. All right, Martha. I love you.